I'm going to start by showing you the obligatory PowerPoint. I've got like 2 slides here, just really to tell you what we plan to talk about. This is kind of a Civil 3D and Infraworks and how we can share data with BIM Collaborate Pro. Okay, so we're going to do an overview of Civil 3D and Infraworks, kind of let you know what those are about. I get the feeling that most of you are pretty familiar with Civil 3D, but are here to find out more about Infraworks. We'll also talk about uploading and managing Civil 3D and Infraworks models into our cloud storage location. So that, let's say I'm an engineer in my location, Western US, and my colleague is a planner in Central US that's going to be using Infraworks. Well, we can use BIM Collaborate Pro to share our data. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. And that's going to include handling of large surface models. One of the things I'm going to show you today or talk about a little bit are some of the new features in Civil 3D 2026, which just came out this week. And it has a couple of great features for handling large surface models. And so I think our timing is perfect to show you that as well. And here's my other slide. I didn't overdo it with slides. So talking about Civil 3D and Infraworks, and people ask, well, when would I use Civil 3D or when should I use Infraworks? Well, Infraworks, early in the project, this is more of a planning, conceptual design type software. It's accurate to a point, but it's not 16 floating decimal point numbers like Civil 3D and AutoCAD. I think this is 8 decimal points in Infraworks, so it's good for planning. It's very good for visualization. It's very easy to create snapshots and to create videos of your site, whether there's design on it or just original conditions, either way. And then we take that work that we've done in Infraworks and we can send that to Civil 3D for final design, and of course your documentation, your sheet sets, all the plan sets you're going to create, PDFs, etc. All that would be done with Civil 3D. Your detailed Civil 3D corridor designs, and I'm going to show you how to do this, can be attached to your Infraworks model for your presentations. So if you bring a surface over from Infraworks, for example, you design a corridor over it in Civil 3D, well, that can go back to Infraworks for visualization, animations, snapshots, etc. Okay. Hope you're not upset. I'm going to give up on the slideshow now and go to the software. Here I have Civil 3D as well as Infraworks running. Now, I want to show you first with Infraworks. I'm kind of in a project here, but I'll show you how you use this. Infraworks has this tool called Model Builder. So the very first thing you do is go and zoom in to the place on Earth that you want to capture a project for. I want to go to the Hoopa Valley Indian Reservation. They're Civil 3D users too, by the way. Do a lot of salmon habitat design and things. Okay, so here I have, it's zoomed in the map. I want to capture a polygon. So I'll use this area. Whoops, got to click it. And then double click here. Okay, now see, I made it too big. Infraworks will do 200 square kilometers. So I'm going to bring bring these corners in, and I can watch my size. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so once I've got my boundary that I want for my project, then I'm going to give the model a name. I'll call it Hoopa. Okay, I can set my coordinate system. You can set it to latitude, longitude, default LL84, or you can go pick an actual like California state plane. In this case, this is in California Zone 1, so we're going to use NAD 83 US foot, Zone 1. And I'll assign the same coordinate system in Civil 3D. So then when I bring these data back and forth, they're going to go to the right spots automatically. Okay, so I've got it set what I want, and I'm ready to go. I say create model. So what's going to happen is behind the scenes out on Autodesk servers, it is calculating the surfaces and the roads, finding the roads and everything within my selection area. Now, rather than make you wait for the probably 10 minutes it takes for it to do all that and give you back an answer, which shows up here on the start page for Infraworks, I did this yesterday as well. So let me save us 10 minutes and just go straight to that model. So here's the model it captures. And I'm going to do a refresh somewhere here. Okay, so there's Hoopa Valley. Now, I want to send this over to Civil 3D, right? Well, rather than sending the entire surface model, that big whole area, maybe I want to deal with a smaller set of data, okay? Let's do it like this. I'm going to do an IMX export, present share here in Infraworks, export IMX. Okay. I'll go ahead and use entire model because I want to show you this reference surface clipping that's new. It's astoundingly useful. Okay, where am I going? Yep, this will be Hoopa. Okay, it's an IMX file. That's an Autodesk proprietary format. I didn't type .imx, so it told me that's an illegal file name. But then it added it itself, and now it's actually doing it. Okay, so this is being saved to my cloud location, Autodesk construction cloud, where my project is. So then my colleague on the other coast will be able to go retrieve this from that location, import it into Civil 3D. You can see these large surfaces. That's why we want to be able to use these new tools to have it just use part of it for me. I think that's probably, yeah, still going. So here in Civil 3D, what I'll do is I'll get a drawing ready. So I'm going to say new drawing using the Civil 3D default template that comes with the software. Okay, I want to make sure I assign my coordinate system. Now, what I'm using is California NAD 83, Zone 1, US foot. Okay, so my drawing's set up and I'm ready to accept some data from Infraworks. It's still doing its thing. Maybe I shouldn't have exported the whole surface. Okay, so here in Civil 3D, what you would do is you would import that IMX file, and I have others. I'll do this one called entire model. This will be just a moment. Okay, and it brings over the surface. You'll see in your surfaces here, it's going to have AIW existing ground, Autodesk Infraworks, existing ground, existing transportation, which is all the streets and things. Okay, and then proposed ground. So if you've gone in and done any design in Infraworks, added building pads, added a corridor, etc., that'll make proposed ground surface, and that'll merge with existing. Okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this existing, and I'm going to call this Hoopa EG. Okay. Now, I need to save this out to my project as a data shortcut. Save my drawing. And this will be Hoopa EG. So this is going to be the source drawing for this surface that I'm going to save into my project. Okay, notice it has an MMS, because the surface is so big. Okay. So I've saved that. So now I want to come into my data shortcuts and create data shortcuts. And I just want the Hoopa EG. Don't really care about all these roads, planning streets, Bigfoot Scenic Byway. That's Bigfoot country, in case you wonder. Western Trinity County area. Okay, so I'm just going to bring over this surface. Okay, so that surface now, Hoopa EG, has been added to my project. So from there, I'm going to start a new drawing, and then I'll reference. So this is going to be like a production drawing, right? So I want to reference in that huge surface, but I only want part of it. Let me go back here and get a boundary for us. Okay. Let's say I determine that I want to have the surface for, I could turn on the underlying map, but I'm just going to rough this in. Okay, I want to use that as my boundary when I reference this big surface into my production drawing. So I'm just going to take this, Control C to copy to the clipboard, pop back over here, clipboard, paste to original coordinates, zoom extents. And I should be able to okay. So now I want to import, or reference, I should say, because we're using the data shortcutted surface. So I'm in the same project. I can hover here and it'll tell me, okay. I'm going to go here to that surface. There's Hoopa EG. Now I create reference. This is like with any surface you're used to doing. But here's what's different in this version. I can reference part of the surface. That's a big deal. So I could take this huge surface. Maybe I downloaded something from National Map Viewer that has 97 million points, and I could work over here in this little corner with my 97,000 points or 9,700 points and have it happen quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK to this. Then it asks me to select my polygon, or I could, if I had my map turned on, I could pick the points, but I'm just going to go like this. And there's that surface now pared down a lot. Here's my surface properties. 644,000 points compared to 2.7 million. So it's yeah. So that cuts that down much better, makes it faster to work with. And let me save this. And I'll put that in production. Whatever we call it. Okay. So then from here, I want to turn on my make sure I'm set up. Hadn't set this drawing to a coordinate system. Okay. Once you do that, then you get the geolocation tab and you can turn on the mapping. And I'm going to take this surface, and I don't need 2s and 10s. Let's go 5 and 25. It's a little more better. Okay, so from here now, I want to go in here and maybe add a road or something and be able to send that back to Infraworks for visualization. So I'm going to draw an alignment. And I'll just do alignment creation tools, and name and numbers fine. Okay, and we'll set some curve defaults. Okay, start here next to the river, Trinity River they call that. Steelhead and salmon if you were going to ask about fishing. Okay, so I do that. I'm going to go ahead and make a original ground profile of that, so a surface profile. And this is all stuff that's happening much faster because I was able to use Infraworks and share that huge surface out into the project and then consume it and clip it. They don't really use the term clipping, but partially open it, I guess, in Civil 3D right from that shared project. Okay, so not going to worry about my settings. We'll just do a profile view out here. Looks like a beautiful thing. Okay. We want a typical cross section, or in Civil 3D, what you'd call an assembly. And I'll just grab one from the tool palettes. There's some that come with the software, like this basic lane transition. That should work in Hoop, all right. So where am I putting that? I'll stick it here. So that's my assembly. Okay. I can turn off my map now. Map off. So I'm ready to make a corridor here. Let me do a finished ground profile. So I'll pick the profile view, tell it profile creation tools, and names, fine, layout. And how about some default vertical curve lengths of 200? And then I'll tell it, let's draw tangents with curves. Where do I want to start? I'll start at original ground, right there next to the river. Okay. And I want to come up here. So there's my finished ground profile. And now I want to create a corridor. A corridor right here. This has changed somewhat if you're used to doing corridors in 23.2.1 and previous versions. Different dialogue. Lets you pick several alignments at once if you want. I just want to pull it from here since I only have one. And then the assembly there. Once I select an assembly that has daylighting on it, then it'll ask me for my target surface. Okay. And I'll set some frequencies. 25 feet, oh, that's plenty. Okay. So now I have a corridor that I've drawn through there. What's it look like? Looks like this. Got kind of a gotcha right up in here where it didn't daylight. I didn't have it steep enough or whatever. I'm not going to do it because we're getting a little short on time, but I do want to point out in this version of Civil 3D, your corridors have ability to do corridor transition where I could go in and say, okay, from here to here, change that fill slope to from 2:1 to 4:1 or 1:1, I mean, or whatever. Okay. So just keep that in mind. We're not going to show it now. We'll do that in another seminar. Okay, so I have this drawing. I have that corridor. I want to then send this back to Infraworks. So I'll go to my Infraworks tab here on the ribbon, export IMX. It's trying to save it. Okay. Yeah. Miscellaneous. Okay, let's go. What I did is I opened that file location. So if I need to browse there, see how I'm here, then I can just copy that path. So by having it open in File Explorer. Okay, so let's get back over to Infraworks. So I'm here. I can then go into share. Oh, sorry, no, I need to turn on my data sources, make that IMX file a data source. I'm importing Autodesk IMX. Okay. Let me get my path. I tried to copy my path. Bear with me a sec, my friends. There we go. Wouldn't let me copy my path for some reason, but there we go. Oh yeah, that's right. All right. Here's corridor from Civil 3D, the IMX I created. Open that. Now it's going to show me what's available to be brought in, right? So if I wanted to bring in that trimmed down surface, I could bring in surfaces. If I had any coverages, which are things like daylight areas with surfaces, those will be coverages. Places I've put like building pads, things like that would be coverages. And of course, you see here, here's my corridor. I'm going to leave like that. And I say, okay. And here, no, that's not it. Where's my, well, here's a corridor I did yesterday. Okay, and once you do these, add this corridor in here, if you want to visualize this, there's a great tool here, Present Share Storyboard Creator. And one of the things you can do is create from a component road, which is what you're looking at. So I'll pick that. I'll offset 4 feet to the right, nothing vertical, that's all good. And create. And it creates all these keyframes, right? Then you want to view it, you just press the go button. And you can adjust the speed and things. Oop, I didn't go around the Ford Explorer. So what you're seeing here is city furniture that I added to my Infraworks project for my presentation. So did the advanced design in Civil 3D with a corridor, sent that to Infraworks for visualization, adding, you see, I added, I don't know if I'd call it a forest, but a stand of trees. You can do rows of trees as well. And this goes on and on. I'm sure you don't need to see every bit of it. So let me kill that. Okay, that's what I had to say today. Thank you very much.